Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Jay Parm again, and today I wanted to dive into something that shapes how we experience games, sometimes in ways we don't even realize. How giving content creators early access can actually hurt a game's natural lifespan. On the surface, giving creators early access makes sense. It builds hype, gets free marketing, and ensures that a game has visibility when it finally launches. But the often overlooked issue is that it can also monopolize content, destroy discoverability for smaller voices, and even create this weird illusion that a game has no content before it's officially out. The reason I even wanted to talk about this is how the release of Borderlands 4 has been handled. So here's how it normally goes. A studio is preparing to launch their game, and to get eyes on it, they give creators access days or weeks ahead of launch. From the studio's perspective, this is a win. Influencers create videos, Twitch streams and YouTube videos pop off, social media buzz grows, and all of it serves as marketing. But the way creators use that time isn't just to preview the game. They are grinding, speed running, they're making guides. They dive into every corner to release as much as possible, as quickly as possible. They're not doing this to ruin anything per se. It's just the reality of the competition and how the system has been set up. But the result is that the game's content is front loaded in a way that changes how the entire community experiences it. When I think about how games used to work, and I'm not trying to be a boomer gamer over here, players would discover things organically, week by week, with forums such as Reddit, guides, and conversations slowly building a collective knowledge of the world and the mechanics. Now, that discovery phase lasts maybe a few days. By launch, there are already full walkthroughs, best builds, boss fight spoilers, and endgame strategies. The sense of mystery collapses. Instead of lasting weeks or months, the natural exploration period and honeymoon phase of a game shrinks into a weekend binge. Not because the game lacks depth, but because the content has already been consumed and solved before most players even touch it. And this can lead into another issue of discoverability. For regular players or small creators who want to share funny moments, let's plays, or niche guides, their content just gets buried. Why? Because bigger creators already dominated every angle before launch. I must say that this is in no way intended to be negatively geared towards the creators that fall into such a category. Get that bag, make that content. But the algorithm just favors those massive early uploads. That means the community mostly experiences the game through a few giant channels rather than a wide range of perspectives. That lack of diversity ends up hurting the long-term health of the game's community. Players lose out on different playstyles, unique perspectives, or slower burn storytelling. Instead, they get funneled into whatever content had the most time to farm views before launch. Now, let's talk about the arms race that this can create. Creators aren't just trying to cover the game, they're fighting to be first. And that leads to a simple but brutal question. How far are you willing to go to win the race? Are you going to upload late game boss fights on day one? Reveal major story beats before the community even logs in? Push out meta builds before the general community has even had a chance to level? In the past, there was at least a little hesitation, a kind of game of chicken. How much spoiler or endgame content do you risk putting out? But with how competitive and monopolized the space has become, that hesitation game is gone. It's essentially a race to the bottom. The moment an embargo lifts, we hit rock bottom because all the deepest content floods online at once. Players lose the chance to experience that sense of discovery because it's already been mined, uploaded, and recommended to them. Now, before you come at me, and to be fair, it's not only on the studios or the creators. Consumers and viewers alike play a huge part in this too. At the end of the day, it's a choice to click on that all bosses ranked video or final story ending explained before you even booted up the game yourself. Nobody is forcing anyone to consume spoiler heavy content. But that's a part of the cycle. Creators make it because they know people will watch it. Audiences crave the shortcuts, the guides, the answers. So the demand fuels the supply. But here's the catch. Even if you avoid spoilers, the wider community's behavior still shapes the conversation. If most people are binging guides, the meta forms instantly. If most people are watching the ending cutscene on YouTube, it's harder for you to avoid it on social media. This in turn can make a community lose interest at a more rapid rate as things are completed in the community. This only hurts those that might want to find a long-term game with hopes that future content will be added, only to maybe have that ruined by a community that dies within weeks or months' time due to solving the game. So yes, consumers are responsible for their own clicks, but the scale of demand means that even players who want to take it slow often feel like they're getting left behind. And here's the irony about all of this. When creators get hundreds of hours of early gameplay, by launch day, many are already saying there's not enough content or there is no endgame. The average player is still in the tutorial, but YouTube is full of videos claiming the game is already dead or runs out of steam. Some of these videos claiming the death of the game, however, only serve as bait content many times. That narrative spreads fast, though. It can convince people not to buy in, and it can damage the game's reputation. Not because the content isn't there, but because the consumption pace was artificially accelerated by early access and by the demand for instant answers. Now, to be fair, not every studio handles this the same way. Take From Software with Elden Ring. When creators got early access, they weren't given the entire game. They were limited to a small portion of the first area, Limgrave. That meant they still had something to cover before launch, but the vast majority of the game was untouched and left for players to discover together. That decision preserved the magic of exploration. It kept content creators relevant without spoiling the whole experience. And once the game launched, creators had fresh ground to explore alongside the community rather than racing ahead and exhausting it. It's proof that early access can be balanced, as long as studios prioritize discoverability and community experience over just flooding the algorithm. Now let's take everything we've talked about and put it together. Giving early access to content creators for content can shrink a game's lifespan by collapsing the discovery phase into days. It monopolizes content, making it harder for smaller voices and diverse perspectives to be seen. It creates a race to the bottom, where spoilers and endgame leaks dominate the conversation the moment an embargo lifts. And yes, consumers are a part of this too. Every click on a spoiler video or guide feeds the cycle, even if not everyone wants to race ahead. But, as we saw with Elden Ring, it doesn't have to be this way. Studios can give creators something to work with without killing the sense of discovery that keeps a game alive. So, who is really hurting in all of this? The players who don't succumb to this at launch and wait to view this content until they have played the game and experienced it themselves? New creators wanting to find a way to make a mark in the community? Or sometimes the devs of a live service game that just wanted to have the game shared? But those are just some of the things that I found and have thought about. What do you think, though? Do you feel like early access spoils too much and cuts into the excitement of discovering a game on your own? Or do you think it's fair game since nobody's forcing you to click on the content? And if you were in charge of a studio, how would you handle early access for creators? I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and allows me to make more content for you like this. Thank you again so much for watching. I'm Jay Parm, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.